So good morning, everyone. Being a statistician, I thought perhaps we could start the talk with a little survey. Yeah. So what I'd like to do is get a feel for how much experience there is in the room, and then for those veterans of the pharmaceutical industry, I'd like to ask you what quality initiatives you have personally lived through. Yeah? Maybe you could give me the list of what you've seen so far. So who has been in the pharmaceutical industry for 5 years? Could you raise your hand? 10 years. Keep your hand up. 15? 20? 25? All right, let's do 20 and above. So for you four, what quality initiatives have you lived through, right? We've got Lean and Six Sigma now, but what came before that? GMPs, yeah, the Pharmaceutical Quality Initiative is an alternative to the ISOs. Who else? Anybody? TQM? Anybody lived through TQM? Total Quality, yeah, Quality Circles, yeah. Before that? Duran, yeah, Duran and Deming and Schuhart back to 1923. And what's interesting about all of these quality initiatives, wave after wave over decades, is that first they have to become part of the pharmaceutical industry. So right there, they change from their birthplace, whether it be at Motorola or at Bell Labs, right? Western Electric. They go through a little change as they come into the pharmaceutical industry. And I believe that change has to do with the risk profile of the pharmaceutical industry. Instead of high volumes, low cost, low risk products like potato chips or paint, we in the pharmaceutical industry make high risk products, right? Low volumes, high cost, high risk products. It's the complete opposite. And you'll also notice, has anyone here worked in another industry other than pharma? Yeah? All right. And in my experience, I was in a commodity chemicals manufacturer when I first got out of college. And it seemed like all the responsibility was for quality, all the responsibility for compliance, all the responsibility for performance was funneled into the quality group, as if manufacturing weren't also responsible, as if every other department in the organization were, right? It all ended up in the quality group, which was a very strange thing. Because in comparison, when I got into pharma, the responsibility for compliance was distinct from the responsibility for performance. And over the years, I have come to appreciate that distinction. And there is some recent research by a fellow named Josh Green at Harvard, which might help us understand that difference between compliance and performance in our own industry. So what I'd like us to talk about today is why pharma quality and manufacturing are at odds. Yeah? Doesn't it seem like almost always when you get into a conference room, there's manufacturing on one side who's arguing one point, there's quality on the other side arguing the exact opposite point, and they're both looking at the same data? Yeah? So we're going to look at that, why pharma quality and manufacturing are at odds and why they should be. And how this is very different from Deming's Japanese approach. Yeah? Let's also look at process capability. And is process capability a tool of compliance or performance? This has been of particular interest the last few years as FDA has been requesting input on how to apply the new powers given to them by Congress through the Safety and Innovation Act. Yeah, FDA Safety and Innovation Act, some people call it FDASIA, some Title VII. And in there's two sections of particular importance I think you should check out. One is 705, which requires FDA to establish a risk-based audit schedule. Well, that's interesting. A risk-based audit schedule. So this is what has led to this big discussion about quality metrics. FDA is asking us, what metrics would you like us to police your industry with? The other one is 706, which gives them the power to request any metrics any data that would be available during an audit, in advance or in lieu of an audit. Oh, those are two very remarkable sections, and have led to this recent draft guidance on quality metrics, in which process capability has come up, and the International Society of Pharmaceutical Engineers in particular has been leading the charge against FDA requiring capability indices, right? CPK, PPK. Because those indices are best used as a self-audit of performance for continuous improvement. They are not, however, particularly good as a compliance tool. So we'll get into that. There's actually better compliance tools, things that are actually already within the sphere of the pharmaceutical industries, percent OOS, for example. And I think if you were to read through the draft guidance on quality metrics, you will see that the percent OOS is one of the metrics that they are going to request. And then we'll look at how that relates to process capability.